Clive Palmer's brother-in-law has claimed he's had contact with the businessman's elusive nephew and is perfectly capable of arranging communication between the pair. Clive Mensink was the sole director of Queensland Nickel when it collapsed in 2016 and hasn't returned to Australia despite being summoned for questioning by liquidators in the federal court in Brisbane.
Clive Palmer's brother-in-law left court silent after being grilled by liquidators.
Why haven't you told liquidators where Mr Mensink is?
Inside, George Sokolov testified he could easily communicate with Clive Mensink, who left the country in June 2016 after Queensland Nickel collapsed with $300 million in debts. The sole director of the refinery was filmed by a journalist in Bulgaria earlier this year.
Clive, are you going to come back to Australia?
2 arrest warrants were issued in March last year after Mr Mensink failed to appear at court for questioning over the company's collapse. Barrister Robert Newlands, acting for Queensland Nickel liquidators, was today critical George Sokolov knew how to get in touch but didn't tell them, despite being aware they were trying to track him down. Mr Sokolov said he'd been asked by Mr Palmer to get Mr Mensink to sign documents during a holiday to Bulgaria in April last year and was also asked to contact him again just a few months ago. It had been all over the press that Mr Mensink was in Bulgaria somewhere. No one knew where he was. Both you and Mr Palmer and Mr Palmer's lawyer had been perfectly capable of contacting him and having correspondence with him at that very time, Mr Newlands asked. Yes, he replied. George Sokolov was asked if he knew where Clive Mensink is now. He told the hearing he thought he was still in Bulgaria. Last week, Clive Palmer announced his nephew has been appointed as a director of his Blue Star Lines company, which plans to build a replica Titanic. Ellie Simpson, ABC News, Brisbane.